Tonight on History Hub Hunters.
7,000 soldiers in July. We got historical here. Here's some treasure.
Why are we so fascinated with the past? Why is it that finding a piece of history makes us feel more connected to it? In western Maryland, near a little place called Hagerstown, lies the heart of the Civil War and the heart of our nation's history. Join us as we explore one of the largest hubs of our nation's past. This is History Hub Hunters.
During the Civil War, soldiers would often camp near water and cliff sides. These areas of refuge would not only provide natural supplies, but shelter from the elements. Often, soldiers would leave behind items when breaking camp, especially if doing so rapidly due to an advancing enemy.
So we are at the property of, former property of John Dow, who owned Dow's Mill, which is just a little ways down the road here, right next to Beaver Creek. The mill was a flour mill in operation during the Civil War. This is a Civil War period map. And we're on the eastern side of what used to be his property. The mill itself was actually built by John Funk, who lived next to the property. So there would have been significant traffic between the mill and John Funk's property as he was building the mill. So there's a fair chance that the John Dow who had the mill down here probably would have hid money around his property as well.
The motto during the Great Depression was, if you got money, bury it in the ground.
Right. This is a Civil War period map. This should look familiar. We actually went over it last time when we were at the crossing. We're just a little ways away from the crossing we were at before. So once again, we're talking about the Beaver Creek crossing at this area, not the Beaver Creek Bridge. And that's important because that's a distinction that's made in a lot of historical Civil War documents for the official reports. Sometimes they'd reference spotted Confederate movements at the Beaver Creek Bridge. Sometimes they'd talk about spotted Confederate movements at the Beaver Creek crossing. Here is a 1890s to 1910 photo of the mill that's down the road. Here you can see the road passing right past the mill into the creek. In 1863, General Lee sent an order to the Confederate Army to secure all the flour and forage on Beaver Creek. This was a flour mill right down the road. Confederates would have absolutely been here. Now, this is a good one. This is a good blunder. All right, so the Union had a force at Cavetown, and they moved to a point near Smoketown. Now, Smoketown would have been close to this area. All right, their orders were to go to Benevola, where Beaver Creek crosses the Boonesboro and Hagerstown Turnpike, but those orders were not understood. Instead, they came to the Beaver Creek crossing and camped at the Beaver Creek crossing instead of the Benevola Bridge. So they were on the wrong road, which means they would have been basically right here. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is a Union report from July 10th, 1864, that reporting that the force that lay at Smoketown numbered in 7,000. He talked about the Confederates, all right, and that he believes they're probably going to be moving east. And it's true that the rebels have been fortifying South Mountain. Now, July 10th, 1864, that date's very significant because on July 6th, 1864, we had the ransom of Hagerstown, where they ransomed Hagerstown for $20,000. Then on July 7th and 8th, 1864, they ransomed Middletown for $1,500. And then on July 9th, 1864, they ransomed Frederick for $200,000.
I'm starting to get the picture. You're not looking for Civil War bullets. You're looking for Civil War bullion.
You know, I would be happy with either.
Okay.
Now,
Never mind.
what's really interesting is the ransom of Hagerstown, that $20,000 was a typo. Originally, the Confederates were supposed to ransom Hagerstown for $200,000. However, when they issued the ransom demand, they had a typo, put a comma in the wrong place, and the ransom was only $20,000 instead of $200,000. Hagerstown would have never met the $200,000 ransom. So, because of a typo, Hagerstown did not burn like Chambersburg burned. They are pursuing the Confederates, who have $221,000 of ransom money right now.
Wow.
What are you going to do with that ransom money if you know the Union is hot on your tail? You're not going to keep it. You're going to stash it somewhere and come back for it.
And there's nothing in paper form saying that the money was delivered and used.
There is nothing in paper form that talks about the money at all.
It just, the trail ends.
The trail ends after.
In Beaver Creek.
Yeah. I brought along marker flags this time. All right, so I'm going to give everybody a few flags. We can go through and just, when you find something, go ahead and put a flag down so we can get a general feel of where everything we found at was, and if we need to focus any further on that general area.
Good stuff.
So, questions?
I'm ready to get into it.
You're ready to get into it? Yep, I think we all are. So, all right, let's get to work and let's see what we can find.
Rock and roll.
As our hunters begin their search, what will they find? Coins? Civil War era relics? Perhaps, maybe even the lost ransom of Hagerstown.
Little bites, like you don't have to cut. Okay. Come here, John. What you're doing is looking for a piece of grass, pinpoint where you're at, or a flower.
Come back to this later.
Either way. See, that's very small. Flag right there. Since I was a kid metal detecting, they've invented this little junior detector, and this thing is a godsend. It saves so much time because, oh, we didn't. That's really close. The closer stone, the more it beeps, the closer you are to the item. Sometimes you can hear it, like right there. Somebody had a barbecue here, so
You're going to find a lot of that on this property.
a lot of barbecues.
A lot of-
You know
lots
what?
of cans.
You said this was the fishing parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guarantee you,
I
every single
forgot
one of
that.
these is a beer can.
What do you think of this spot?
This is where I put 7,000 soldiers in July.
Yep.
Without, I'm breaking a sweat and I haven't even dug a hole. That was a big gulp. Still. This is definitely, and then the creek is right over there because I can see a park bench.
Yeah, the creek's over that way.
So I'd be hugging that clip as a soldier.
Right.
Okay. 50 cents a piece.
They're here. We'll know it. Right there. Let's find 6 and then we'll stop and dig, because apparently this place is pretty laden with stuff.
Well, there we go.
There's the old-fashioned hold it up to the metal detector trick.
I'm definitely in that.
There's
In your
something
plug.
there too.
We got
The old tin foil.
yeah. This area has had significant activity throughout the entire war, more than just Antietam. Most people just focus on Antietam in this area, but there was so much more, including the retreat from Gettysburg, as well as, of course, the ransom of Hagerstown and ransom of Frederick and ransom of Middletown, and a burning of Chambersburg.
You want the probe?
More aluminum?
No, we got we got historical here.
It's historical?
Are we filming?
Yeah.
Well then this is historical. This is a Confederate lamp wick.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm embellishing.
Ah.
It could be
Yeah.
a Confederate lamp wick.
Okay. It's definitely historical, though. It's not.
This is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see the little knob on it there.
This is at least, it's got some age. When did we quit using wicks? 1920. So this could be somebody's dump, which is always a good place
That's
to be.
fine. Yeah.
Should we call John over here and tell him we found treasure? You never want to turn artifacts because they break.
Right. Yeah. Don't turn that.
But this is brass.
That looks like yeah. It does look like part of the lamp.
Okay, so
All right. So bag that up
and just leave it right there
and
for
just
now.
leave it right here, and that way we can properly document it for the state
I'll just leave it like
using
that.
the Maryland Find app.
Let's see what else is in there.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. Good find.
Fine. So that means
So that shows that I was correct.
there's old stuff here.
Yep. That shows I was correct, and it's possibly from Civil War.
The soldiers didn't carry.
They didn't have
but
lamps.
the generals
The
did.
generals did, and my research said they met a general at Beaver Creek.
If I was the general, I'd be hugging up next to this
Yep.
cliff because it's cool and it's July, and we could speculate.
Oil lamps have been in use since ancient Greece and Egypt. These lamps are designed to burn for long periods of time, by drawing oil or kerosene through a cloth wick. Most soldiers during the Civil War would have used lanterns, containing candles. However, officers would have used more expensive oil lamps, to better read maps and field communications. If this oil lamp is from the Civil War period, it would possibly have belonged to an officer encamped at the foot of the cliff.
Four signals there.
Can lid, but an old one.
Yeah, that's what do you think, Randy? 70s, 80s, probably,
Yeah.
based on the pool tab.
Hey,
Yeah.
if I was living here, I'd be camping here in the 1970s. Got
Yeah.
something big,
And
big and old.
Show John what we found over there.
Are we recording?
Yes, sir.
Something big and rusty.
Ah. Is it a rifle? Maybe it's a
Yes, it
rifle.
is.
You think? That'd be nice. No, it ain't a rifle, but that's...
Hey, John.
Oh, this is definitely something interesting.
John,
You should see this. Don't know what it is.
I think we got a bowl.
It looks promising.
A hubcap. It's large.
Oh,
It's
that's in there
it's
deep.
very large.
That's large and it's deep.
20 cents says it's a wheel.
20 cents exceeds our current budget, I'm sorry.
I brought my purse.
But once
No.
we get some sponsors...
Nope, not a wheel. How we doing there?
Good. It is definitely a circle. So far.
Maybe it's an old tractor wheel.
Oh, or a wagon wheel.
The other thing to consider is cliffs is usually where they threw the trash.
Yeah.
Just thinking about big barns.
Well, one man's trash.
Throw them over the cliff and forget about it.
Here's the other half of the tractor here. Here we go. Are we filming? It's a musket.
Yes.
It's a musket.
Or a lawn chair.
We got it's pipe of some sort.
Yeah, that's about 30, at least 30 years old. Metal pile.
Yep.
I wanted to say it's a seat belt. You guys figure out what that is. No,
Nah, it's too big to be a belt buckle.
it's Ferris.
Yep. I think that's an old. I think it's an old GM seatbelt buckle. What do you think? Based on the shape. Hey, what we got? Oh, look at this.
An exercise.
Oh,
machine.
careful, careful.
It's not a bear trap, is it?
No, that looks like a wagon man.
Yeah, I would say. I'm really just flat out stoked with this play, with this spot.
Yep.
7 times Confederates in the shade in July.
I'm gonna switch to the discrimination mode,
Okay.
and hopefully, but we won't. Well, we'll still find big stuff. We may not.
That right there is fantastic. I'm excited about that. There we go. That is absolutely a wagon man, I think. I would have been for a smaller wagon.
Let me see if there's anything else in here.
Primitive wheels were solid wood, very heavy and difficult to balance. Around 2000 BC, lighter wagon wheels started to be made using wooden spokes, instead of solid wheels. However, it would not be until 1,000 years later that the wheel's reliability was improved by adding a strip of iron around the wheel. This iron strip was the first tire, establishing the basic design of wheels used on modern automobiles today.
I'm reading a book on metal detecting and treasure hunting in general. And one of the book's things talks about taxes. The book was written back in the 60s, where if you found like $1 million, you had to pay like 90% taxes on that $1 million.
Okay.
Okay? So what their recommendation was, if it's a spot that you know about and nobody else is going to have access to, then go ahead, just take like $10,000 out of it at a time per year.
Yeah.
Only pay taxes on that $10,000 per year, because as long as it's not in your possession, you don't have to pay taxes on it. But so then this would be the top part of that lamp.
That's rad.
Yeah, and you can tell this isn't modern because if you look at the lip of it. Mm-hmm. So this would be part of the lamp. So we will put it with that.
That's what I'm thinking with that little tire. That looks like farm.
What we got?
Got a ring.
No kidding. We do.
I don't know if it's
Yeah, but is it actual?
is it actually a human ring?
or is it?
I don't have my glasses on. John, what do you think?
I think I'm about to go wash this thing off, is what I think.
I think it could be a washer.
That's hopefully.
That looks like copper.
Well, it said it was a 50-cent piece, so it was.
Yeah, that looks like copper.
Oh, it actually is a ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we weren't joking.
Whether it's for mechanical or jewelry.
There's just metal everywhere in this thing. Here's some treasure.
Is that a watch?
A fuse.
Oh, fuse. Oh, neat.
Yeah. Oh no! It's my first ever
It's a car.
matchbox.
We found a car.
I've never found a matchbox before.
We found a car.
I'm always in about 1800s, you know, hoping for 1700s, and to flash back into the 1960s. I mean, where is Speed Racer when you need him? I mean, I just think how hot it would be in July.
Right.
It gets pretty hot down here in July.
Well, and also think about, look how thin these trees are. So these trees wouldn't have even been here back then. This is all new growth. So they would have been up against this hill as close as possible and not in the open.
Some of them are older.
I'm in. If this is a campsite.
This is a perfect
If-
campsite for Civil War.
If they were going to camp.
Hancock had several dumps, and I was into this bottle kick one time, so I did some reading at the library, and I dug and I dug and I dug, and I found a mention of the Hancock dump. It was down on the flats of the river, and the idea was that town would dump all their trash on the flats of the river, and twice a year, quote unquote, the floods would come in and wash all the smells and the rats to and fro, cleansing the dump. The magic word, it would cleanse the dump. Now, if you live downstream in Four Locks or a little bit further towards Antietam, you would get Hancock's cleansings. And I did find the front emblem from a Model A Ford, beautiful blue emery or enamel, whatever it was, porcelain. And I found that at the flats of the Potomac River dump.
Somebody was an artist.
It's a top of a squeeze
Oh, okay.
squeeze tube.
Squeeze tube for paint.
It could be an old toothpaste.
Could be toothpaste.
From
Yeah.
years going by.
If it's an old toothpaste one, it's probably made out of lead.
This big.
There's definitely something in there. Oh, he's not too bad.
This has been a special preview of History Hub Hunters. For more episodes, please visit our website and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for watching.